Today I'm speaking with Katharina van Zeller. She was born in Vienna and grew up in both Vienna and Hamburg. Katharina studied social anthropology and sinology at the University of Vienna. She is a professional organizing coach and the founder of Ordnungskunst, a consulting practice that helps small businesses and private households create and maintain order. She also co-founded Dreikreis, an agency dedicated to placing agile IT freelancers with purpose-driven companies. Hi, Katharina, Kathi. It's great to have you as a guest.
Hi. Hi, thanks for the invite.
First of all, tell me where you grew up.
So, as you said, I was born in Vienna. My parents are Viennese. And then when I was about 13, my dad got a contract in Germany, in Hamburg. That's why we moved, all of us, like the whole family. So I grew up there and spent my youth there, which was very, let's say, it made a big impression on me.
Mhm.
But I didn't like it so much, so I decided to come back to study in Vienna and start my life there as an adult. And it was the best decision ever. I really felt at home. I really liked it. I loved Vienna. And yeah, and so I stayed and started working there.
Tell me more about that part where you said I didn't like it there so much. Well, do you remember what it was that you didn't like?
Yeah, so I wasn't very popular in school. I
Mm.
guess many youths have this issue. And if you are, I think, from another country and you're not popular, people use this that you're not from the same country. They make stupid remarks and it's hurtful, you know. You're not
Wow.
from there, you want to belong, but then suddenly you don't. I never really liked this. And to be honest, Hamburg is, it's nice. It's a beautiful city. I really can't say anything different about it. It's a beautiful city, but it's raining a lot. It really rains a lot, and it's, I don't know. It's super sterile. For me, it felt sterile. So after my school, I went to Argentina for 4 months
Mm.
to do some social work and learn better Spanish and to travel. And when I came back after 4 months, I sat in a taxi from the airport home, and it was so quiet. Everything was quiet and white and sterile. And for
Yeah.
me, I started crying. I was like, okay, I can't stay here. I just
Mhm.
can't. That's not me. That's not me. So I decided to go back and go back to Vienna because I had family there. I had a little small network, social network. So I decided to study there, and it was good. Good decision.
Great. So, two more follow-up questions here. Well, I mean, you kind of laid out your opinion on Hamburg a little bit, but I've never been, and if when I visit, what what must I see or experience there, in your opinion?
In Hamburg, good to be honest, I haven't been there in a long while. I mean, or I haven't lived there in a long time. But back then, so definitely see the city center, the Alster, which is a huge, nice lake in the middle of town. Um, it's beautiful. Just jog around, take a stroll, whatever. Just experience this really nice lake. It's a recreational area. Go to the Elbe, which is the river in Hamburg, the main one, and go there to the port, see the port. Super interesting because not every city has a port, and Hamburg is not directly at the sea, but it's close enough that it can have this huge port and super famous port. So this is super interesting. Definitely should go there. Um, get lost in the city center. So yeah, I would say these things.
Any major sites beyond the port and the Ulster?
Major sites, yeah, I mean, of course, you can go to the city hall. You can see several beautiful churches. Michel, which is the main church and the sign of Hamburg. You can, what else? In the port and the Landungsbrücken, which is not the port, but like the area where the tourists are, basically. There you can eat fish, really good fish. Yeah, definitely. If you go to Hamburg, eat fish. Fish is really good there. What else can you see? I like the main train station. It's really beautiful.
Oh,
There are not so many beautiful train stations in the world, I think, but this one is a really beautiful one. It's
wow.
very old, very pretty. Um, yeah, so these are the main sites, I would say.
Okay. Oh. So I didn't know that you were actually a teenager when you uh,
Mm.
moved to Hamburg. So you actually grew up in Vienna. So what's great about the area you grew up in, Vienna?
In Vienna, to be honest, I don't remember too much because I was a child. I was more a child than a teenager in Vienna, and we moved once. So what I like there, the area I grew up in, there was an, as I remember, there was a nice park close by, and I remember we could go there
Mhm.
with my parents and not so much alone because there was a big street to cross. And later on, when I was like a smaller teenager, basically, when I was 11, 12,
Yeah.
um, I spent time with my friends in this park. But to be honest, I don't remember too much because I was still a child. I was a lot at home with my mom and my brothers. So I can't really tell
Yeah.
that I know too much about it.
What do you now as a grown up and also as a professional, as a mother, what do you think is great about Vienna?
Vienna is amazing. But the amazing thing is it's easy to live. It's super boring. So if you're up for partying all night, if you don't want to fit in, then better go to Berlin or to another city. But this is not Vienna. Vienna is boring. Vienna is for old people. Vienna is for young families. It's just super easy to live there.
Yeah.
Partly because it's affordable. So you have this red government, city government, and they push social housing. They keep rent control. It's just affordable. You can live there still. And you earn well enough for your fixed costs. So the relation is very good. Um, what's easy, you have a lot of parks. It's rather green, even though you think this, because Hamburg is so much greener. In Hamburg, every street is like an avenue with trees on both sides, like almost every street. You don't have this in Vienna. The street, it's more gray, I would say, but you have a lot of parks, and so it's rather green. For example, right now we live like 1 minute from a park, and it's amazing because our kindergarten, maybe this is also luck, our kindergarten is part of this park, so the kids have their own garden and
Yeah.
area there. And after kindergarten, we just go to the park, see all the kids from kindergarten and the parents, and it's a little community. That's really nice. And Vienna, in general, is built like as if communities grew together, like small villages grew together, and that's why you have in each district you have it's like a village built like a village, and this is really nice.
Yeah.
So you know people, and you're still in this big city. Also, transportation, public transportation is just amazing. It's so much better than in any other city I've seen. You're rather quick if you want to cross the city. You have metros, like they're building now number five, the fifth line. You have buses, you have trains, you have trams. So you have all these options. Usually, they have good bike lanes. Usually, can choose like five different transportation means to go from A to B, which is amazing. I really enjoy this. We don't have a car, for example, with two kids.
It's
We
amazing.
don't need a car, which is amazing. And I don't
Wow.
like to be dependent on a
Yeah.
car. So we have this cargo bike we use to go anywhere with the kids because then two kids fit on it, which is amazing. Yeah, it's just easy to live. And you get a lot of perks from the state.
Mhm.
For example, kindergarten. They have public kindergarten, and which is really good. So our kids are in public kindergarten. It's really good. They have like organic food every day. They're for 20 kids, there are two teachers and two assistants. So it's a good, really good relation between teacher and kids. And we pay 80 euros per month per child. Maybe it's 90 now per child because it's free. It's subsidized by the state or by the city. And yeah, but you only have this in Vienna, if I'm honest. In the other provinces, you don't have it so much. But Vienna is just, yeah, it's just easy to live.
Cool. Very cool. So, you studied social anthropology and sinology. Tell me about your studies.
So after Argentina, when I came back, I did not know what to study, and but I knew I wanted to do something with cultures and maybe languages. And sinology was always clear because I'd always wanted to learn Chinese. I was interested in the language. It's like a huge puzzle or riddle I wanted to solve. So I was always interested in that. So this was clear. And then I wanted to study something else because I didn't only want to have the language. And so I found this study. And since I had to wait about half a year to start studying, since I came back in March and university only started in October, I was just really lying around. I worked a little bit over summer, but this was it. And then I had my first lecture, and it was so amazing. I loved it. I loved it, and I knew I'm right here, and it's just great. So I enjoyed a lot studying social anthropology. This really expanded my mind in many ways.
Well, it is not something I ever studied. So tell me a bit about it. What did you study? What did you learn?
Yeah, it's difficult to really define what you learn. For me, it was how do cultures live with each other? What do we know about other cultures? How do we talk about other cultures? How do they talk about us? What is us versus them? Um, why do we do this? Why do we say us versus them? Why do we build groups? What's about? How does ethnicity play a role? There are topics like migration. We looked at migration more in depth. What does it mean? What are the trends in migration? Like all the theories about it. Integration was a topic. Then, of course, all the theoretical topics, like about the study itself. Yeah, how it developed over years. What are the theories there? Um, it's quite diverse. It's difficult to say afterwards you can work as this or as that. For
Mhm.
me, it was more, it's funny in English, I don't know a distinction between education as what you learn in school and education as you of knowledge. Um, if you look at the Renaissance men,
Mhm.
who knew everything.
Yeah.
They were educated, but not educated just in the sense of they went to school and learned X, but also they developed other skills. And for me, this study was developing these other skills. In German, there is the difference between Bildung and Ausbildung.
Yeah.
And I didn't study to
Ah.
become something, but I studied this because I
So
wanted to study
that was
because I
your
was very
Bildung.
interested in it. Yeah, I mean, I was lucky that I could do this, of course, because not everyone can choose something. They always say it's an orchard study. In German, you say this, an Orchideenstudium. Of course, not everybody could afford this, but for me, I always said, okay, I will learn this, and with this knowledge or know-how I got there, I learn, I can basically work everything I want to do. I can apply it on everything. It just have to take my other skills I developed during my life and combine it, and then I can do whatever. And in the end, it came out exactly
Yeah.
like this. Maybe I was
Well,
lucky.
we'll get into that. And you said learning Chinese language was a big puzzle for you. And did you
It
did
was
you solve the
amazing.
puzzle? Did you
I
learn?
solved it. I learned it, but not too well because, of course, it takes a while. It's really hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard. It's so different. The thinking is so different, the philosophy, but super interesting because you can tell in the characters. These are the signs. In the characters, you can tell how people think in China, the philosophy behind, and this is super interesting because you can tell how they are put together, and the way they put together reflects their thinking. I thought this was mega interesting. I solved it after my bachelor's.
Can you give me an example,
I
maybe?
was
What that
in,
means?
for example, you have a character or a radical or a character for woman, nu. Then you have a certain character part which represents a roof. If you make a roof and you put the character of the woman under, then it means the whole character means peace. So if you have a woman in the house, it means peace. Basically, yeah, we have the roof and the character of the woman below, and then it means peace. Stuff like this. Or you have I think the if I remember correctly, if you have the roof and two female signs below, then this means already quarrel and fight, because
Oh,
in China, in old China, you could marry not just one woman, but
uh-huh.
you had these concubines. You maybe were married to one, but then you had concubines. So if there were two, already this means it's not so peaceful anymore. And then if you had, I think, three women under, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure if I remember correctly. Then it was rumor that a rumor was spread. So these things just developed. Yeah, how many women you have in the house can mean trouble, basically.
So
I thought this was
these
mega interesting.
symbols are still in use today. Is that
Yeah,
true?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Ah,
yeah. They are now simplified. It's now simplified Chinese. The characters in mainland China, in Taiwan, it's different, but in mainland China, they're simplified. It was made during the Mao Zedong time that people could learn it easier, because there were many analphabets at this time. So tried to alphabetize people, and so they made it easier. And we learn in university, we learned the short characters, the simplified version already, but it's still complex enough.
yeah. Going back to the examples you gave me, even in the simplified form, is this one, two, three women in the house
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
captured
This is
there?
this is in the simplified form. Yeah, yeah, that's in the
Okay.
simplified form, and that's so interesting that you can
That's
see
very
so much
interesting.
of the philosophy in the language, like in the characters.
Yeah.
This was
Wow.
amazing. I really loved it. And after my bachelor's, I went to China for 1 month, in Beijing, to study 1 month, like a summer school. And after that, I spoke okay,
Mhm.
but not well. I could tell a short story, let's put it this way. I could go shopping or so, but I was not great. And when I came back, I tried the master's, but this was almost impossible because most people who were in the master's class, they had been before to China, like they had been a year or a semester, and they spoke well because after a semester, a year, you speak really well. So I missed this out because I never went there for longer.
I mean,
So in the meantime, I forgot everything.
yeah. Oh,
I mean, I have made probably have the basis and I can build on it, but I forgot it. I have to repeat everything from scratch.
I was just going to ask you, with, China becoming more and more the second dominant superpower in the world, do you see
Yeah,
your study of sinology as an asset these days? Like, makes you
no,
understand the
not
world
really.
better?
I don't think so. To be honest, I lost the connection
I
to the
see.
topic because I didn't use it in the past 20 years. And if I'm honest, people speak so good English there, or many people speak good
Hmm.
English. They already said when I started studying, oh, sinology will be super important one day. There's so
Mhm.
many Chinese, super important. Yeah, but in the end, people speak really good English and they learn it better than we ever learned Chinese. So there's no real need, in my opinion, to know it well unless you're super interested to do business with China. Then of course, then it's helpful. I have friends who are in business with China, friends from sinology, and of course they speak well, but they're often second generation Chinese,
I see.
so they also have already the baseline at home. Yeah.
Fascinating. Which brings us, the business topic brings us to our next main topic here. Dreikreis, your recruiting agency. So tell me,
Yes.
what is Dreikreis?
So what happened is that after university, I wanted to go into an NGO, an international organization, something like this. It was super difficult to get into it. And by coincidence, I landed in IT recruiting. A friend of mine came up to me and said, "Hey, I need a recruiter. Are you interested? You're looking for a job?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So I worked 3 years as an IT recruiter and in sales, basically, because this is sales. Mm, and then after 3 years, I quit to go to another recruiting company. And then this friend who brought me in said, "Hey, a friend of mine and I, we want to found our own
Hmm.
company, are interested. And I said, yeah, sure. What do you want to do? Yeah, let's see, let's talk about it. And then we decided, okay, IT recruiting we know, in sales, so and we already know how it goes. We don't have to invent everything new. We just
Oh.
can, continue
So there
there.
wasn't an
And
overall
that's
idea of what to do first. It was more like we do something together and then we decide what we're going to do.
exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. Yeah. We just said we would like to found a company together. We could be
Uh-huh.
great together, but what we were not sure because it was a time that we were all beside of the third co-founder. So Jürgen and I, we were both more on this. We want to be on a world trip. We don't want to work too much, but we want to earn well, all the things you want. And the third one, she had two small kids at home. She was more on the sick side. I want to have a secure income. I yeah, I need to make money. And so we decided to do this because this is what we knew and we're good in. And then we founded Dreikreis in July, and in September we only really started, I would say, with recruiting, finding clients. But since we had the experience, we had a network from before, we knew exactly how it
Hmm.
works. So it was quite easy to start. And IT is so important in Austria. There is just such a lack of IT experts. Um,
What year are we talking about, by the way?
then,
When did you start Dreikreis originally?
sorry,
What year did you start?
what year? In 2015.
Okay.
In 2015, we founded the company. And even now, and then also back then, the lack of ethics experts is just immense. So we knew that we will have a good business, which was the case. And we knew that we are very good, and we knew that we make it better than others. We wanted to make it more on eye level with experts because we often had the feeling it sounds a bit like human trafficking, no joke, but people talk about it as if the experts were just trafficked people. And we didn't like this. We said we want to do it better. They're humans and they have their own thoughts, their ideas, their wishes, their dreams. And that's why we have to see that they are taken care of, but also the client is taken care of. So we try to be the third. Drei means three. So the third part
I
basically
see. Okay.
between them. Yeah, and I think we did a good job. They really liked us. They really went for this many clients, and we did a really good job there. So it was growing rather quickly. Like after a year, after half a year, we had the first employee, and after a year we had already three or four, and then it was growing and up to 12. Then came the pandemic, so it was going down again. Yeah, but in general, it was great for me at least, and for my partner, Johanna, because we both had the same background, more or less. So
Yeah.
we could substitute the other person. When
Interesting.
one was sick, the other one could just cover up. I was, for example, I had my first child in 2020. So I was at home for half a year and she took care of the company. I didn't have to be present. Then she was just exhausted. And I said, okay, you can take a sabbatical if you want. I take care of the company alone. So we could help each other out and we didn't have to be present the whole time, which was great. And since the business was running well, yeah, we didn't have to do anything special. We could even work only 30 hours. So we founded the company. I think in the beginning I worked 20 hours and then I realized, okay, I want to do a bit more. So I started with 30 hours, like only half a year later. And we stayed with 30 hours. We never worked more, which was great. And after a
Wow.
year of, after,
Great.
yeah, this was really amazing. And then after a year, after founding in 2016, one of our partners, Jürgen, he decided he didn't want to continue anymore. So he sold us his shares. And we just continued together, just Johanna and I,
That was a duo. I didn't
which
know
is
that.
also
Huh.
interesting dynamic. Yeah, I learned a lot in this time. And then after 8 years, actually after 6 years, we decided both we didn't want to continue anymore. So we tried to find a buyer. And in 23, 8 years after founding, we finally sold the company. In fact, to my ex-boss.
Okay. Super interesting. So let's go back to the beginning. And so you were three people that founded Dreikreis, and
Yes.
what were your backgrounds? Like, what did you study, or what professional experience did you bring to the table? I mean, you already told about yours. You worked in recruiting before.
Yeah, so we all worked in recruiting before.
I see.
So
Okay.
Jürgen brought me in, and Johanna had brought Jürgen in to another company before that. So we all worked in recruiting for several years. Johanna studied sociology and Jürgen studied political science. So we all had no business background, no recruiting background, no IT background, no nothing, but you learn everything on the job. It's not so difficult, to be honest. The only thing it's important because it's sales after all. It's not
Yeah.
so much recruiting know-how, and you have to have a good feeling for people, for CVs. Like you have to understand people's background and why they decided to do certain things. This, yes, you have to get a feeling for this, but you get this feeling after a while. You understand why people do what. Yeah. So you acquire this knowledge, and all the rest, to be honest, you just learn on the job. It's super important that you're open-minded, that you are communicative, that you are just friendly and have the heart on the right spot. But otherwise, it's everything acquirable, all the skills. It's not so difficult.
How did you experience the act of founding a company in Austria? Was that smooth? Was there friction?
It was super smooth. To be honest, in the beginning, Jürgen already had founded a company before, so he knew the administrative part, what we needed, and so on. We were a GmbH, which is a limited company, the equivalent, I think. So he already had known everything from before, and that's why it was easy for us. But to be honest, you don't need a lot of things to found a company. It was rather smooth and quick. Yeah, we just had to show the credentials to get basically the license to do it. But since we had the credentials, it was fine. It was also rather quick. I think we started the process mid-July, and beginning of August, we were already registered in the book,
Wow.
the company book. So it was
Okay.
yeah, it was rather quick.
So, okay, let's stick with the founding of the company. How did you finance it, and for how long did you actually have to finance the operation until revenue started to come in?
Yeah. So if you found a limited company, you need 35,000 euros as a starting capital. And since one of us had the most of the money, we said, okay, this was also how do we decide how many shares each one of us will get? So this was more a topic we discussed a lot. And then we said, okay, the person who can put in most because he has the money, he put in like I think half, and the other half, the other two split. So it was not too much. I think I put in 8,000 euros, roughly, maybe 8,500. So it was not a lot. And with this money, you already can work. So you can use it. You just have to put it in, have to prove that you have it. But this you already can use to, I don't know, buy computers and do stuff. Yeah. And then I would say we did not get money back for the first half a year. I think the first time I really earned money was after half a year. I don't remember exactly, if I'm honest, but I think it was after half a year. I think in March 16, I got my first proper, more or less proper paycheck that I said, okay, I get something out of it. Really well earning. I was in 2018. Then it was really well. Then I earned really well, especially for the hours I put in.
Yeah.
Especially for the hours. We could have earned way more. If we had worked 40 hours and more, we could have earned more. But we decided we didn't want this. My partner had small kids. I was free at the time. I didn't have kids. So, but I said, I don't want to work more. 30 hours is enough. I want to have a life. Yeah.
Do you remember how that first paycheck felt?
Very good. It was relieving. It was relieving that finally the money is rolling in.
Something special with it?
No, I just used it to live.
I see. Okay.
I was lucky because we founded a company when I was still supported by the state. Because just before we founded the company, I quit, or in fact, no, I didn't quit. I was dismissed from my former employer, and I got from this. I was still on the payroll of the state.
Wait, who then later bought the company in the end?
Yeah, exactly. So
Beautiful.
basically, I was. We already had the company, but it was still because because we didn't earn anything. We said, okay, I'm employed at our company, like for some hours, officially for some hours because I couldn't earn more, and I got just the baseline I could earn there. But I also got the unemployment money. In Austria, you have the social state, you got unemployment money for about a year. And so I got my unemployment money plus this little bit money I got from the company, which is really very little. And then after my unemployment finished, I got proper paid. So for me, it was basically a continuation, just that I got the money from the company and not from the state.
Okay. One more question here. So you said you had the company split up like 50%, 25%, 25%. How did that?
Yeah, we didn't do it exactly this way. We had 51% because we wanted
Ah,
someone
I
to
see.
have more. Yeah, it was super important. Or no, sorry, it was 50.1. Sorry, 50.1% and 49.9%, which we split the other two, because it was important that one always can put his foot down and say, okay, we're doing it this way. Because if you're three people, you also have to take decisions. And if you can't decide, then one of us had to decide. And this was the person we said who has the most shares.
Okay.
And yeah, this was important.
Okay,
But
so
yes, it was roughly half half.
well, yeah, half half. It seems like he had
No,
51.
like sorry, no, sorry. 50.1
Yeah.
was one person, and then the other two had one quarter,
Yeah.
basically.
Okay.
24.995, and yeah.
And was this important for splitting the profit at the end of the year, or how did you?
Yes, yeah. No, yes. This also had, of course. So we all got a salary for the work we did, but for the risk or for the founding of the company, we got the dividends by the end of the year. In the first year, of course, we didn't get any dividends, and I think the first dividend. This was amazing. I remember this. So we got the first dividends in 2017. No, 18. In 18, we got dividends from the company, like 50,000 euros or so, and this felt amazing. It was like, wow, we can take out 50,000 per person because suddenly our salary, of course, jumped. So this was a really good feeling, and I think this I took to invest into something. Yeah, yeah, I always invested the money immediately. I didn't buy anything, so.
Okay. Okay. Um, what are the top business lessons you learned in your time at Dreikreis?
So one I definitely can share is if you have a partner, because so I said the third one he left, and so my other partner and I we had to get along, and this was not so easy because she was the one I didn't know so well at that point, and we were super different. But one important thing is if you look for a partner, it doesn't matter how different you are in communication or thinking. The most important thing is, and we were lucky in that we always wanted the same for the company. Always. We even wanted to sell at the same time. If one wants to sell, the other one not. This can be a huge problem. If you want to go direction A and the other one wants to go direction B, this can be a huge problem because you have to decide after a while. So we never had these decision problems. This was more how we communicated with each other. Yes, we were yelling at each other. We had even coaching to get along better and to work better together. But this was all fine. At the end, we wanted the same, and this is super important. So this is one lesson I learned, and I was lucky. I was just right out lucky that we wanted the same.
Mhm.
Um, Another thing is that's why we want to sell. After a while, it felt like we don't learn, or I didn't learn anything anymore. It was almost boring because, of course, it's difficult to find recruiters and salespeople who already know this business. So we had to always basically get people who had no idea, were from different areas, and we had to teach them from scratch, yeah, how it works. It's fast, yeah, they learn fast, but you have to still build them up. And after a while, we were the only seniors, of course, and yeah, you of course you can learn things from juniors and from everyone, but in the end, the steps are very small. And this, I think I should have done a bit better. That we could have gotten us more consultants in maybe who or maybe be part of a business network, which I'm right now, to exchange thoughts on
Mhm.
business and to make it easier. Because with my partner, after 7 years, you know what the other thinks. You,
Yeah.
you don't have to discuss it anymore because you know the points. You start talking in circles. So this I could have done better, I have to say, to get more fresh ideas into the company. Um, what I also learned is that I'm not made for leading. I hated having employees, but you need them. You need them. And I think I was not the best leader, but also not the worst, but just it was not my thing. And it's okay. But I found out that's not my thing. And I learned this for myself. Everything else, I don't know. I learned so much there because I had to do all the areas, right? We built up marketing and the finance area, like the controlling area, like everything. We had to do everything on our own. Um, and it was super interesting. It was super interesting to learn because I've never done controlling before. And yeah, this was really cool.
How many people did you employ at the height of the company?
So the height were 12, but
Oh,
they were
wow.
not all full time. So it was not 12 FTEs, it was just 12 heads.
Okay.
We didn't have some were just part time. We always told them said, hey guys, you can work like recruiters and in sales, they could work minimum 30 hours. But even there, we had one that came back from her parental leave. She was 20 hours, I believe. So it was a mixture between 8 and full time. We had everything.
Mhm.
Full time means 38.5 hours in Austria.
Tell me about one of your favorite moments during your time at Dreikreis.
My favorite moments. Oh yeah, I can tell you some. Um, of course, I did recruiting myself, and of course, I also was with clients. And I think the most beautiful stories were when I placed someone in a permanent position because we could do both, like permanent position and also freelancers. We could place both. Mm, is when somebody had a really crooked CV. It was like there was no red line, I would say. There was no red thread going through the CV, and they had problems and issues in their life. Let's put it this way. And these were the most beautiful moments when I could get them a job they liked and they were liked by them. This was there were moments that were really, really beautiful. I really enjoyed this.
Wow. Do you still have contact with some of the people you have finding a new career?
No, not anymore. Not anymore, really. I just see them. I follow them sometimes on LinkedIn, but no, there are so many over the years. No, I don't really. Sometimes with some freelancers, I'm still in contact. Yeah,
Okay.
because with the freelancers, you see them on a more regular base because they basically work for your company. So that's why, but not for the permanent placements. But we try to install this program that we help people with more crooked CVs, let's say, and there we had some beautiful moments. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another beautiful moment was Christmas when we had 12 employees. Was our Christmas party,
Yeah.
and we had dinner all together, and it felt so like wow, they all belong to you. Like they're yours basically. Not in the sense that I own them, but it's like if they're your kids are sitting there, and
Yeah.
it's like amazing. These people work for you, and they like it. They're here because they like it, and I have responsibility towards them. Like I have to make sure that they keep their jobs, that they can feed their families, and this was a great moment. I really enjoyed this. I was very proud of ourselves.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So, final question to about Dreikreis. And we already revealed that a couple years ago you decided to sell your stake in Dreikreis and also your other co-founder that was still
Yes.
around. Tell me about the time and tell me about your decision and how you felt during that time when you made the decision to sell and afterwards after you sold it.
So the decision was rather easy because at the time I couldn't stand it anymore. It was just I was bored. I was bored out, to be honest. I didn't learn anything. So this decision was rather quick, and I was super relieved that my partner thought the same way. And she said at the same time when I approached her and said, "Hey, look, I decided I want to sell." She said, good that you say this because I already wanted to approach you." So this was really at the same time. It was amazing. Um, the following year, so we first had to evaluate the company and see what it's worth because I wanted to see what options we have, if we even could sell it for some money. I mean, it was a small company after all, if it even made sense, or if it made sense just to kick out everyone and say we do it ourselves and maybe just the contracts run out and we wait until the contracts run out for freelancers. that we basically don't do anymore. So there were several options we had. We had to see what was best. And in the end, we organized an agent who tried to find people what to buy, like other bigger companies. This was not so easy. We couldn't find anyone within a year. And then after a year, we approached our ex-boss. There were two, my ex-boss and one of my
You have to pay
ex-colleagues
that
from this other
agent during that
company.
year, or was it a?
No, yeah, we had just a small fee. We had to pay him, and then if it had come to a conclusion with another company, we would have paid a
I
percentage,
see.
I think 5% or so,
Mhm.
or 4% of the sale. But in this case, we told him, we informed him, even said, okay, just that you know, we also will talk to our ex-boss. This we will do in person. They might want to buy. And to be honest, they were immediately said, yes, funny that you talk about it, that you offer us the company, because we were already looking for a company to buy. So this was
Wow.
also perfect timing, just luck. But then it dragged on and it took a year because they needed financing, and it was not so easy for them to get the money, and they needed some subsidies for this. And this was dragging on for a year. And at that point, I was already pregnant,
Mhm.
and my husband and I, we decided we wanted to go on a world trip with both kids when like when the second one was born. And so it was dragging on. I was hoping that we could finish the whole topic until we left, but we couldn't. And because it took forever until we had the contract done, we couldn't decide on certain topics. It was quite intricate. So this was maybe a mistake, but I really wanted to go on this world trip, which was already planned, booked everything. And so we were in Southeast Asia, and I was still um, negotiating the contract via the phone. And it was a bit exhausting. My partner luckily was there, and just she really was doing the best. But of course, it was huge turmoil for our company. We were super focused on us. It was like, yeah, it was no good for the business, I have to say. But in the end, it worked out. In the end, they got the money, and it took a year, more than a year, until they got the money, and then we could
It's two
sell
years
to
in
them.
total,
And,
right?
and
From the moment you
it
decided
was,
to
although
sell.
exactly, yeah,
Wow.
almost 2 years and a half from the decision point to when we really sold.
Incredible.
And the funny thing, yeah, and the funny thing is, the agent came back to us while we were in discussions with the others, negotiations with the others. He came back to us and said, "Yeah, I have another, like someone. I found someone who's interested," and they, in fact, made an offer. And then we said, okay, but the offer was not as good as the other one. And so we went back to our ex-boss and said, okay, look, we have this other offer. We need a decision from you. We need a
Mhm,
decision.
mhm.
We would like to sell. So if you can't bring up the money, I'm sorry, but then we sell to the other person. So it was really not clear to who we will sell and if and so on. And then finally they called us and said, we have the money. We can
Mhm.
sign the contract. We can sign the contract, and that's it. And on the 15th of September in 23, we sat there signing the contracts, and I was crying while signing because, of course, it was my baby. I mean, I was selling
Mhm,
my
mhm,
baby.
mhm, mhm.
I mean, I wanted to get rid of it, but still, it was very emotional because I hoped that they treat our employees well and that everything they continue in our spirit. Um, but on the 15th, and this was 2 weeks, no, then 2 weeks later, I got the big bulk of the money, and this was 2 weeks before my 40th birthday, and I was very proud of this because I sold my first company before I turned 40, and then I was clear as a yay, I can now do whatever I want. I can redefine myself. I can just completely reinvent myself for the next decades. Yeah, it was a really cool feeling.
Amazing,
I was so
which
happy.
would now be a great segue to go on to the final topic of today. Um,
Yes,
your most recent endeavor. It's called Ordnungskunst. You're an
yes,
organizing consultant. So tell me about
yes.
Ordnungskunst. Tell me everything about it. What inspired you, and what you're doing with it, and how you're helping people.
Yes. So the first time I wanted to do something about this topic, tidying up at our houses, it was right after my university. But back then, this job didn't exist. I didn't know anyone who did this in Austria and Germany. Nobody. At the time, I lived in Berlin. My ex-boyfriend even drew up a domain for me, I had everything I could have started, but yeah. And but I was always observing this topic throughout the years, and I really enjoyed the topic. And then came Marie Kondo, which you know.
Well,
Marie
explain
Kondo
it.
made this.
What did she bring to the world?
Yeah, so Marie Kondo, she's this Japanese lady who had this huge Netflix series in when she tied it up in people's homes live, more or less, or at least consulted them. And this was just very popular series, and it made the topic super popular. And there's this KonMari method, and she developed, and she's basically has consultants, and it's a trademark now,
Mhm.
and a franchise business. But she made this topic quite known also in Europe. So 12 years ago, I think the first organizing coach started in Vienna or in Austria. She was the first one 12 years ago. So I had my idea 15 years ago. So it was even before that. And there was nobody I could have turned to. And to be honest, I was just stupid with 25, so I didn't know anything about it. And I was too afraid to build up something by myself. And then interestingly, so 23, I sold my company at Dreikreis. And then and first my plan was to do nothing, just to chill out to 1 year to do some further trainings. Like I did something in data science, and I took a course in data analytics, and I studied. My husband is Portuguese. I studied Portuguese and did some things, but I didn't really want to work. But then in December 23, I met another organization coach, and I thought organizing coach, and then I thought, actually, I've always wanted to do this. So now is the moment. I have the money from the sale. I have nothing to lose. The upcoming year, I didn't want to do anything. I have nothing to lose. I just found this, and that's it. And I work as a freelancer, like as a consultant. And so in January, I dropped my company. In March, I had my website ready, and only in June, joined BNI, which is this business network international. It's an American network based on recommendations, a recommendation network basically. And I joined them, and I said, okay, now I basically start
What's the name of the
acquiring my
network?
clients. Business Network International,
Okay.
BNI. Yeah, so they're worldwide represented, and I became part of a chapter in Vienna, and I thought, okay, this could help me to to get recommendations to start my business, which it did. It helped me. Especially what helped me is that I met other entrepreneurs, other self-employed guys, and they helped me to think about my business, to
Yeah.
develop the business, and
And
this was super valuable.
tell me why people hire a person like you to help them create order in their
Yes.
life, their household. Tell me about the whys.
Yeah. So basically, so people that contact me, they are overwhelmed with tidying up. They don't know where to start. So it can happen that, for example, a family with two, I think you have two kids, right? So I have two kids. It's hard. They're small. They make a lot of mess. They probably have too many toys anyway. Everything is lying around. In the evening, you come home, you're tired of the work, you still have to clean up, you have to tidy up. It's just annoying if you don't have a system. And or you have two jobs, three jobs, you're home very seldom, you just throw everything into one corner, and then it's just piling up. The things are piling up. After a while, you come home and you don't know where to start.
Yeah.
You don't know where to start cleaning up and
Well,
tidying up. And this is where I come into play. So basically, people are overwhelmed, and out of this feeling, they say, okay, I need help to find a system for myself that I can tidy up, that I can make it tidy, but I have the system in place that it can be on a sustainable way tidy, that you don't always have to think how you do it. And this is what I teach basically. So I help my clients first to find this basic order, like a basic system. Yeah. And this can be very different for every person because everyone feels differently in different settings. Yeah. So some people think, I don't know, if there are 10 books lying around here on maybe on the floor, this is already tidy. And for others, this is super chaotic. So everybody feels a bit different about tidiness. Yeah. There's a scale, I would say, from OCD to super messy. Yeah. And we're all on this scale. Um, so I help people to create a certain order they are comfortable with. And this also means sorting out, of course, because usually people have too much stuff. And if you don't have too much stuff, you don't have a fixed place for things. And if you don't have a fixed place, then you can't put it back. then you just put it somewhere, and then you have already a chaos. So it's meaning sorting out things, but putting everything in this basic order. And then while doing this and after, I teach them individually for them a system and that they can keep it in order. So it means for you with two kids is different than for someone who lives with his parents or with someone who lives with kids in like and teenagers, and some different if students live together and share a household. So or you live alone. So it means for everyone something different. It also depends on if you're a night nurse or if you work in shifts or if you have a day job from 9 to 5. So it really depends on how your life is. And so I look at this and then we discuss together what routines could be good for this person. And it's also trying out, yeah,
How
trial
many
and error, I
sessions
would
do you
say.
usually need with a client before it sticks? And um,
How long? Or you
yeah,
mean
how many sessions do you, or how much time do you
how
spend
many?
with the client
It
until
depends a
the
lot if
show?
it's just, yeah, it depends a lot if it's just an area they want to take care of and they want to tackle, or if it's the whole apartment. Usually it's the whole apartment. And then it depends how big the apartment is, how much stuff do people have. So it really, it's an individual base. But let's say I was with one client, for example, I worked 9 hours so far, and we are still not done. And the apartment is about 80 square meters big.
Mhm, mhm.
And the cellar she has, and things won't be great for quite a while because of course she doesn't have time every day, so we do it when she has time, so it's not dragging over a year almost. And of course it's difficult for her to install these routines immediately, but some she already installed and they're working well, and others we still have to discuss. Yeah, so it takes a while.
And is this
It's not something that goes overnight, but also depends on the person, of course.
do you only give instructions, or do you also help with the actual work, bringing stuff out the apartment or the cellar, or is this up to your client?
Both.
Both.
Both. It depends on where it is. So I offer online coaching
Mhm.
where it's just the instructions and we discuss everything and I'm there for motivation, but they have to do it themselves.
Yeah.
And then I do on-site coaching that I take the boxes and
Yeah.
look inside and say, okay, what is this and what is that and what's this for, and
How
explain
does
me. And
that feel
do
to
you really
you?
need
Like,
this?
describe how you feel when you actually do that. I'm really curious.
It's odd because you can't judge, right? This
Yeah, yeah.
person has its life. You have no idea of this life. But
Mhm.
of course, to me, sometimes it's odd. Like with one, I discussed why she has so many bags. Like
Yeah.
she couldn't get rid of bags. And
Like handbags
okay,
or
now we have to, no, like paper bags,
oh. Mhm, mhm, mhm.
we come from the grocery store and have these paper bags or plastic bags or these more durable bags, and she had like hundreds of them, and I was like, okay, what do you need them for? And she really couldn't get rid of them, and so I tried to find out what the issue was, and then I could convince her to get rid of a certain amount, and she still kept a lot. And then I said, look, in her case, it was that she had a car and she went shopping, and then suddenly, oh, she forgot bags. And said, okay, now in future, you have 5 bags in your car, always, at all times. And you just take these bags to go shopping and you don't buy more bags, please. Yeah. You don't get more bags when you go shopping. So stuff like this. Um, I really have to keep my distance the whole time, but of course I make my hands dirty. Yeah. I really, I'm in their intimate space, and they know this and they have to be comfortable with this. But of course, I have to keep a certain distance. Like, I don't know, when we do the closets, I don't rearrange their underwear. Yeah. Maybe the t-shirts I take and fold and everything, but the underwear they have to do themselves. Yeah? So there are limits. I have to really be careful there what I touch. And important is that you don't judge, because everyone has a reason why it's this way. And I mean, they already come to you because of a problem and they
Yeah.
acknowledge this problem. So they already want to make it better.
Do you see, how does your audience look like? Do you already have a target audience where like, okay, yeah, it's mostly female or male, or do you usually in one age group, or do you usually make that amount of money, or is it really across the board and you cannot place them?
So what's important to know, the business itself is not so known in Austria yet.
Mhm,
So we are all together about 30 organizing coaches in all of Austria, which is nothing. If you
mhm.
think how many personal trainers there are and coaches and whatever, so it's very small crowd. So there's not too much market yet. So I can't tell too much if it goes into one direction, but I think most of my clients, like 90% are female. I had male clients, but 90% are female. Interestingly, but this has also started being a target group for me because it developed a new offer like about 2, 3 months ago that it targets 60 plus or 70 plus to help elderly people to basically go through their life and sort out their life. Because in this age, you often don't have the physical power to do it. But you might want to get rid of things because you think of a move to an elderly home or you have to move into a smaller apartment, whatever. So you might want to sort out, but you don't know where to start. Um, Many people I help now with documents to get the documents in order. So we check like like all kinds of documents, yeah, all kind of this paperwork. They accumulate it and they don't have a system. So for example, this week I have a client, I will go there in person, I will do the papers. I don't know yet what it will expect, what I can expect. Yeah, let's see how it will go. But now I have quite a lot of elderly clients as well. And then, yeah, as I said, most are female, and I would say most of them between 35 and 60 now,
Interesting, interesting.
if you can say
So
this target group.
it sounds like you're helping people with downsizing at a certain age now too, part of your package.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is one of the packages. Because I'm neutral, like I don't care what they trash, what they keep.
Hmm.
But if they do it with their kids, for example, their heirs, uh, they might say, "Oh, but why this is this pair of socks I gave you last week, or oh, this vase I gave you as a birthday present last year. Why do you really want to get rid of it? You can't do this," and stuff like this. So I'm neutral. I don't care. I just discuss with them what they would like to keep, what not. Yeah, and then I help them on a physical level to take care of like you arrange boxes and puts things in boxes and go to the trash place with them and help them there. So yeah, things like this.
Fascinating. What do you enjoy most about this new um, career?
I love it when people suddenly can breathe again.
Mm.
Because, right, I told you this overwhelming state. This also means you're constricted somehow. You can't breathe anymore. You just want to change things around you, but you don't know how. You don't know where to start. And with starting, and often because you asked how often it takes, often after 3 or 2 sessions of 3 hours, they don't book me anymore because they now do it themselves, which is
Yeah.
great. They understood that they have to change something and I gave them the last push to do something. And this feels really great when you can see that you made a difference in their lives. This is really satisfying.
You help to get them started and you give them some tools, then they're off on their own in the ideal case.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. In ideal case. And if they're not, then they come back to you, right? Then they say, ah, actually it didn't work out. I need your help again. I thought I could do it myself. Well, good. It's like with a dietary coach, right? They tell you the tools, how to lose weight, but in the end, if you don't follow up on it, you won't lose weight. And then you maybe come back to the dietary coach, or it helps you to, and then you can continue on your own. So it really depends on the person how it goes. But you definitely make a difference in their lives, and this is really beautiful to see.
Do you do you also recommend furniture or organizing containers? Have you gotten into that?
Actually, no,
Interesting.
because I don't want my clients to spend extra money if they don't have to. What I try is that I reuse what they already have. So, for example, it depends a bit, of course, on the household and what it's for. But for example, everybody gets these packages from Amazon, and they're quite good packages, actually. They're quite sturdy, these boxes. And usually I would trash them. But people already have a problem issue with sorting out. They often keep these boxes. They say, awesome, now we can use these boxes to use it as an item. So we don't need to buy extra boxes. So I always tell them in the beginning, use the things you already have. And later on, when you want to have it extra pretty, I don't know, you have an incoming box on your
Mm.
kitchen counter for stuff,
Kind of prototyping
and
it.
everybody will see it. Yeah, exactly. Then you have something nicer there, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And maybe not the Amazon box, or maybe you redo decorate the Amazon box and make it nice. But something. But I tried people to recycle their things in a meaningful way, and not that they have to go buy 10,000 things. I'm not a fan, I have to say, of like in a kitchen that you put everything in an extra container and then you label it and say this is the flour and this is the sugar and these are the cereals and I don't know what, because there's a lot of work. And if you already have an niche problem with keeping things tidy, this is a routine you have to have to maintain. So I'm not sure if this works. I haven't seen it really. So yes, you can label things and make it nice. Of course, if somebody's on this level already, but this is a level that I don't usually don't work with. The level I work with, like the people, they're on the level like, aha, I keep it tidy. So that means I have to put things back where I took them from, right? So it's really basic often that they get rid of, as I said, 20,000 bags. And not keep all of them. And then, yeah, so doesn't make a difference if they put them in a plastic box or in another box they already have. Yeah. So no, not yet. Often we start very much at the basics. And for this, there are no containers needed so far. But of course, I recommend if needed. Yeah.
Fascinating. It's a fascinating topic because my wife and I, we recently had a conversation and we found out that we have a different definition of what clean means. And I have the wrong definition. I had the wrong definition. I was like, okay, for me, clean means orderly. And for my wife, clean means it's sauber. It's like
Clean.
um
Clean.
yeah, clean. Yeah,
Yeah, but there's a difference
again,
between clean and tidy. Yeah.
it's my fault, right? But for me, I totally have empathy with your customers that at once, if there's a certain orderliness that's missing, it's
Yes.
to a degree I can't even work when it's not orderly around me. And my wife is the opposite, the order is not a big problem for her, but it needs to be clean.
It has to be clean. Yeah, and it's a difference. And to be honest, it's quite funny. It's such a basic topic because how many couples do fight over tidiness?
Mhm.
Like, how often do you hear as a man, maybe, why didn't you put away your dirty coffee cup? Can't you put it in the sink? Or ideally, right in the dishwasher. Why it's in the sink and or on top of the dishwasher, but not in the dishwasher? Just put it in. Or put away your dirty socks. And the same with not only with partners, but also with children. How often do you say as a parent, clean up your room? I can't clean there, just put it in order. Stuff like this. So it's so much in our relationships, and but it's so basic, and nobody teaches you how to keep things in order. Because if you don't hear it from your parents, who teaches you? And if your parents are not clean but not tidy, then either you want to have it tidy because it always bothers you, or you're just the same way. So it depends on your reaction on this. But nobody teaches you really. And I think it's such a basic topic that maybe people are ashamed to ask for help and often don't even know that they can ask for help, right? Because if you want to have it clean, okay, you can get a cleaning lady maybe or somebody that
Yeah,
cleans
yeah,
your house. But to tidy, many people don't even know that they can get help there and that it could be so easy that you just learn a system that works for you and maybe changes again if something changes in your surrounding, but you can be flexible and you understood the basics and the fundamentals. Yeah. So this is also what I try now when I make marketing, that I teach people and that I explain that, hey, you can get help there. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
yeah. What I notice also about myself is so there's certain recurring moments where I tidy things up and I know, oh, this is just a patch, Hannes. You're going to have to do this
It's just a
again
patch.
in a month or two.
Yes, in
And
many ways.
in a month, it's like I haven't solved the problem permanently because I didn't put the time in. I know, okay, I have to solve this properly. I have to put in the time. But then again, two
Yep.
kids, the jobs. I,
Yes, exactly.
I understand the need totally for your offering. So yeah, maybe I'll become your client one day.
You're welcome.
Well, again, it was great to have you. Thanks for the conversation. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Kathi.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for the invite.